what I eat in a day. Let's go. So that's what I eat in a day. That's like a whole day's worth of food for me. Now let me say this. Now this was a day that I did not work out, and on days that I don't work out, I try to keep it a little light. I don't go crazy with the snacks and with the fruit. I don't get crazy with that. I keep it light, but I keep the fiber high so I can definitely feel nice and full. So let's talk about the meals, because I think it's really important. The reason I don't do these videos all the time, like episodes about what I eat in a day, because I take it like really seriously. I don't want to just like show you food that I'm eating without explaining why I'm eating it, because I think it's important not to just eat to eat. I like to eat to meet certain goals. I have 4 goals. When I wake up in the morning, I have 4 goals I like to meet as far as food for that day. I want to make sure I get my fats, my carbs, my protein, and my fiber. I need to hit those 4 goals. So the first meal that I have, I usually fast. I always fast up until 12 noon. I fast every day up until 12 noon. No breakfast. I like to work out on an empty stomach, but I did not work out this day. But I still fast regardless, no matter what. So the first meal of the day was my tofu and tomato salad, sprinkled with raw collard greens, and I doused it with just a little bit of soy sauce. That's my first meal. Now, I also added some chia seeds, and some flaxseed. I added that to it also, so I can get those omega-3s. I also threw some nutritional yeast in there, and you know that has some B12 in it. Not nearly enough, but it has some B12 in there as well. So that met the need of protein. Now let me explain. Just the protein. I eat a block of tofu for that day. That day I had a block of tofu. That was half of that block. That day I had the tofu alone was almost 50 grams of protein. Just in the tofu. There's very little fat in that. So it is a low fat, kind of not even a high carb, because the carbs weren't even crazy for me through this day. But that's okay. Anyway, along with that, after that, I also made, in the morning, I made this huge pot of collard greens, as you saw. A huge pot of collard greens. It was 2 pounds of collard greens. Now listen to this. These collard greens, I bought them raw, only cost me $1.50. Seriously, $1.50. Actually, I think my whole day, the food that I ate for that entire day was less than $5 for the whole day. The tofu, the tomatoes, what else? The tofu, tomatoes, and then as far as the spices and all of that, I already had that, you know, and I'm hoping most vegans, vegetarians, you should be well stocked with like a lot of different spices. So that was the easy part. Now, I just want to say this, like when you're trying to figure out what to eat, just try to meet these needs. and it becomes so much easier. So later, I also had tofu at the end of the day. I sliced that up, popped it into the oven. Listen, no oil, no salt. Now I did use a little soy sauce. I'm trying to get off the salt. Yeah, I'm trying to really cut back. Not off, but cut back. So no other salt except for sodium was just a little soy sauce. But I had the toasted tofu, I had more greens, so I had tons of fiber, tons of vitamin A, the calcium from the greens, the copper, the magnesium. I had all of that. So greens I had my beans as far as my soybeans, which is the tofu, and yeah, that's it.